Back to plumbing. Got this part done now. Time to add the valve. All right, there we have it. Got a bunch of them done. All right, it's a new day. Glad I stayed up and knocked those out, because now I can start putting them on the tanks. All right, now time to start getting valves on all these tanks here. Went ahead and made my 4 elbow pieces for the ends here. I did think about the main water line that's going to come in will actually be the thicker 3/4. That way it will be able to put more towards more valves as I open them, because I'll have more volume of water pushing on less, which means I can get more out of as I fill. I did think about stemming it down each rack, each 4. So you'd have a 3/4 reduced to a 1/2 inch, and then it would go boom, 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 boom. All 1/2 inch across, but main 3/4 inch. But I think what I'm gonna go ahead and do is just 1 3/4 inch down there and just send it all the way down instead of just hitting each rack, because I personally can control it better that way, and the water is going to travel that way anyways, regardless. And a big reason why I know and have figured out how to plumb this stuff is just thinking about how water travels. I have created water change systems like this before in the past and have learned a lot from that and just how things work. So now let's start getting these plumbed in. Figure out my sizes. Give me a scrap piece here. That way I can kind of guesstimate where I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna land most of these just right in the middle, because that'll give it nice flow, nice spread, and more towards the front. That way it's just easy to manage. For me, it's not for looks really. So I'm not gonna try to put it all the way back in the back. So I'll measure this up, get it to about halfway, and then that's where we'll get our valve. And then I'll see if this aligns on the way down, and if it does, I'll just continue, just make a ton of the pieces that just fit down. I'm gonna have to do a lot of cutting. So that scrap piece that I have, it's kind of funny, is 10.5 inches, and these tanks are 12.5 inches. And then between these is 2 inches. So that gives me 12.5 inches by using this 10.5 inch. So it's actually the perfect size. Hit the length in between, and then that should follow, because if I was just a 1/2 inch off, that would carry down the way. So 12.5, 10.5 pipe plus the 2 inches. Same size as the tanks, since this is 12.5. So in a nutshell, if you're trying to get in between, you want the total length with the valves counted on this to be equivalent to the size of your tank. And just like my other tubing, got my template, run down it, mark it all up, and cut it. I can get 22 of these out of a 20-footer. 80 foot's worth. Now I know I might have some extra pieces, but like I said, I've got more of the fish room to do. And also the reason why I get the sticks and not the big like 100-footer is because it's coiled up. These are more straight. If you get something coiled up and then it'll have all those curves, could be a real pain in the butt trying to do straight line down all the way. Look at these flowers. Unique. Got 2 connected, so boom. See, like that. I'll go ahead and put 4 together until I feel comfortable. Make sure it looks good. And then I'm gonna have to factor in for this in between. So I'll have to make 4, 4, 4, and then connector pieces for these. That's the plan. So I'm trying to get it measured up here and see if it's even. This is midway on this side, and then this is midway on this side. I did not factor in that the connection pieces here, so they're each at least an inch short. But the good thing is, it's not that big of a deal because we'll just hug this over and then it'll gain as it goes. And then we'll make up here in the connection piece. So we can still use all the pieces. Not that big of a fail, so we can work with it. You know, I mean, sometimes it's not always the end of the world, thank God. But yeah, that happened. So here's all 5. You can see how it's just kind of towards the edge on this one, kind of towards the edge on that one. So whenever I make my connector piece, I'm gonna wanna make it to where this is the edge here for this next one. Now it's time for the hooks to hold this up. So it usually comes with a nail. Got a screw, you wanna get a size screw just a little bit over. It doesn't need to be too crazy. And you got plenty of meat to work with. Clip on like so, then be able to screw it up there. So I'll just screw these up and then I will place the pipe in. Which is a big reason why I wanted to get this done before I actually got these tanks set up, because I'm going to be making a mess screwing those. And voila, it's on there. On this one. This one's not connected quite yet, it hasn't gotten to that part. But here, I tried to do it every other one, but I don't know. When I'm turning this on over time, I don't know, it's gonna sag. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and hit every one. That way it's nice and stiff and will last a long time. And then I've got to make the connection piece from here and measure out to wherever this one's landing to here to match that to get what I need. And with this PEX system, you can see here how these protrude. You put the ring on this, it clamps down around those areas, which makes it watertight. Got all my segments built out. Now I just gotta put them up, connect them. All right, so I got these Talon hooks. Pull the nail out. Really easy to do. And then next, I'm gonna put a screw in it. Which I think these are 1 5/8 exterior screws. Could probably go with a 1 3/4, 2 inch, really. 1 5/8 is sufficient. All right, got a few with some screws. Time to get them up and all lined up on each one. That way it's nice and sturdy for a long run. Got the length of the hooks marked down on each one, all the way down. Got the hooks up, that way they're straight. You want to go ahead and mark the measurement from the front to where you're going to put the hooks. All right, got all the segments in here. And now I just got to cut and figure out this long span on all these. What in the world? That's not good. Especially with what's all's been going on recently. What the heck? It's a big fire. I went ahead and called 911. They are already out there, so. It's been going for a little while. It's a big one. And it ain't far. You can see the smoke right there. I don't know what the fire department's doing, but this thing's getting bigger. Yeah, you can just see it roaring through this middle here. I'm gonna go check it out. Fields, they're definitely down here. Yeah, they ain't far from my house. We're just right back here off them woods. This is literally in the back of our wood plot. That ain't good. It's smoldering over here, over here, over here, over here, over there. They got a whole line smoldering. Why is it getting deeper and darker down that way. Flames are active too. Keep flaring up here and there. Ain't really on them or nothing. Dude, I walked all the way back and up here, so I can see here. Looks like that guy's still loading and burning some stuff, but just a few little piles. That guy's taking care of business. So I don't know. A lot of green in between here. So that's good to see. It ain't that close. But still, that's the edge of my woods. Like if this caught on fire, we would be screwed. So that makes me feel a little bit better that I can see it now. See him working, tilling it up. Sirens through. Looks like they're all hay bales that caught. And to get my measurement for this in-between piece that I got in here, I went ahead and put this in here. I haven't clamped it, but I measured it out to where this one was kind of even to where that one was. And then I followed down and made these each 20.5, which they go down just fine. So the number 20.5 for all of them. In between pieces, I need 16 of them. It's pretty easy to figure out. Got those, let's do it. Also supposed to be a hurricane heading this way at some point. The color of that looks wild. All right, got all 4 of them all done. All the way down. Now I need to work on stemming them all together, so pretty much connecting them all together. I'm gonna come down with a 3/4 inch and use a reducing tee, which will be this, where it's bigger, 3/4 here, 1/2 inch here. So I got a 3/4 here with the reducer valve, mocked it up, measured the length, which was 7 inches, and got those cut. All right, now I got that piece on. Put on the reducer here. Also, the nice thing about PEX is you can spin it. So if this like turned or whatever, you can spin and turn this and get it directed however you want. So it does have flexibility, movability, and you don't have to worry about it. If it does that, like, don't fear it. Right before the hurricane, and look what they're doing to the sky here. All that dusty looking cloud up there, that's all from chemtrail. And look at this double line they just laid. Well, that's normal, just some planes racing, right? They're building this storm up because all these clouds started popping up. All right, I'm gonna attempt to try to get this stuff all moved besides the tubing before this hurricane comes. And just a bit of prep and cleanup out here. Get this all picked up. That way the wind doesn't do it. Sirens, they're not going off, but I mean the lights are going off. Back over there where that fire was, but it didn't hit near that area. I'm not sure why they're there now. This is the next day, so I'm not sure what they're doing. You can see I got quite a few tanks still left, trying to get some moved over to hopefully make some space here for all that stuff. See if I can squeeze it in. My biggest worry right now is just flooding too. I mean, the path is heading straight for us, so it's not a good sign. It is done. I'm melted. And hooray! Got that back. All right, put my pieces up to the tank to get my measurements. So the outflow The outflow is designed like this. So you got your T or your elbow, depending on if it's the end tank or one in the middle. Then you got your connector between the valve and the T, and then you've got the spout at the end after the valve, which I just stuck this up to the tank since it'll sit like that. It'll sit like that and just mock it up to the tank. And then that allowed me to get to the depth of how high I want to go. And I went actually about 70% down, which is quite a bit. But they are for grow out tanks, so the more you do turn over in a grow out tank, the faster you can grow some fish. So now I got to go through all this, even though we're in an evacuation order right now. So I'm trying my best to like keep up with the project here and just keep things going. Did a lot of prepping for the hurricane that's coming, Idalia. And hopefully God will be looking out here for us and we don't have too much to worry about with the hurricane. We are still debating whether we're going to stay or go because it is evacuation order. We're in a manufactured home. If it was concrete brick, would probably stay. So I don't know. We may either go to the neighbors or go head out somewhere else. Or we may stick it in. It all depends on the path. You never know with these storms where they'll go next day. So, yeah. The show must go on. So, time to cut up a bunch of this tubing. Alright, managed to get that all cut up. So tomorrow, hopefully I get some decent weather before the hurricane comes and I can glue these together. Which I'll be using the primer. I got the regular clear PVC cement here. Primer's in the house. Purple primer, PVC cement, mask, still important either, though this is a ventilated area. That is not good stuff to breathe in. But here is 51 of these pieces. So what I got going on in here, I got the T, I got the connector, the valve, and the stem. Now start working my way down. I would have done all 80, but I ran out of hose, but I have some coming. So I went ahead and wrote down how many I got so I don't forget. Also, one thing with these compression tees is they do have some crud on some of them. So it is good to try to remove what you can and see it just kind of flakes off. So that way you'll get a better seal out of it. Well, I ran out of time. Gotta hurry up. It's raining. Hurricane's coming. Well, that sucked. I tried my best. What the... We got a phone call. The barn, the house is fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and pick up some plumbing. Keep the show going. I made it back. Everything, the barn is good. Haven't been to the house yet, of course. You know, I had to check the barn first. Everything is good. Bit humid in here, but everything seems fine. The shrimp won't like the heat so much with the air off, but there is more light coming through here because I opened up all the windows. That way it will get some natural sunlight. It's not completely dark. Yes, it'll heat it up some, but that way the air doesn't get too stale in here. Same with over here. I have a blackout curtain, but when this happens, let's keep it like this. But with my no filter tanks, I don't have to worry about it so much. But thank God, thank God. A little debris on the stairs. Nothing major so far that we saw. Besides Wesley's trampoline, there's the straps. We tried to strap it down. And yeah, there's the boys' trampoline. Poor Wes. Then the neighbor's barn, their roof got ripped off, unfortunately. And now, look down here. The heck? Another fire? Hay bales again? Like, what the heck? Sarah said they were lined up the other day. They had the hay bales lined up. I don't know if they're practicing or what, but why? As far as feeding everybody, I'm just gonna feed them lightly, not much, because some of the algae may start dying, and hopefully they can feed and eat off of that. But I don't have algae in all my tanks, so some I'll definitely have to feed. Can hear the fish eating all around this fish room. And yes, the aquarium garden made it. Oh, and the axolotls. They're all good. Chilling. No filter. That's how high I got in here with no power, so the axolotls was in the heat. Did manage to get a few pieces cut at the hotel. So give me all my 20 long pieces. But yeah, here no power. Hopefully get power soon. Keep you guys updated. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you. See you on the next one.